So in this video, why is the sword better than the axe? Well, the sword is a more lethal weapon, first of all, but not every warrior had one. They say that between 1 and 5% of warriors owned a sword because of the amount of time it takes to make, the material, the cost and labour. So it is an elitist weapon. It is the weapon of only the best warriors and those with the money and the status to carry on. So in that mind, the sword is a fantastic weapon in the battlefield, not only for the reach, because you can see from here, I'm quite far out with my sword blow. But naturally I'll be fighting with a shield as well. But the sword, in this case, is a very lethal weapon. In fact, I've seen demonstrations on camp where people have basically chopped half a pig in half with a sharp sword when they are razor sharp. And again, it's so important that you look after your kit, not only today but in those times, because you know, you're going to battle, well, you're going to sharpen it first, aren't you? You're going to make sure the edge has such a sharp razor sharp edge on it that you're not going to struggle in the battlefield. And I'd hate to see the results of limbs and arms scattered all over the place from a good warrior with a good sword. But I still like the axe, because a sword cannot chop a tree down. A sword cannot make you shelter. An axe can. So the axe is very diverse in what an axe can do, and I'd always carry an axe, but I'd definitely choose the sword first, because when a warrior of low status sees a man like me coming towards him, he's going to be intimidated by this alone, because this says this man is well trained. And that's another aspect of having a sword in those medieval times, because you have to be well trained and practice a lot. You can't just grab a sword as a warrior and go straight into battle, because you won't know how to handle a sword, and you'll find somebody better than you and you will end up dying. So practice, practice, practice. It's the same now as it was then. And yes, they may have had wooden swords to practice on. I don't know whether they would have practiced with sharp swords. It doesn't make sense to me because you're damaging the blade. So you could use sticks, for instance. I can imagine that being used as well for practicing your sword blows, practicing how to defend yourself with a figure of 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You've got 7, and you've got 8, which is sweeping across. Because sometimes you've got to sweep across rather than go down on a blow. But it depends who you're fighting and how good they are. But yes, a medieval sword, the most lethal weapon of the medieval age.